Hello everyone! Okay, so this is me in the future and me in the future. So originally I had filmed the wrap-up portion of this and the intro portion of this at the same time, but one of the clips in the intro portion I forgot to hit record, so none of that footage got recorded, so I am back again for the second time to film this intro because I never did it in the first place when I started this reading vlog, and I think I'm just gonna do the whole thing over, clean it up a bit. Basically, my idea behind this vlog was reading celebrity written books and seeing if they're any good, to be honest. I feel like a lot of the times when we see a celebrity write a book, we kind of automatically assume that this is some sort of cash grab, put out a book or to feel more relevant. I know that happens with a lot of YouTubers, which I'm interested in trying this experiment with YouTuber written books. And again, seeing if they're any good, if there's any sort of passion or like solid writing behind this, world building, such and such. But yeah, so that was kind of the inspiration behind this, and then specifically like we're starting off with middle grade because I spend a lot of my time in the kids section around middle grade, so it's constantly what I'm seeing, more than YA or adult books especially. So I was just surrounded by all these and they kept catching my eye because I see these big names attached to these stories and I wonder if they're any good. And so I have selected 5 books to kind of test out, I guess, to see if they're any good. And here I guess is my TBR for the week that I did this vlog, weeks technically. So starting off, to introduce the first book, Twintuition Double Vision by Tia and Tamara Mowry. This, if you don't know, Tia and Tamara Mowry are the twins that did Sister Sister. They did Twitches.
Two girls will discover.
They were very big on Disney Channel in the late 90s, early 2000s, 90s, 2000s era, you know, before we kind of got the Lizzie McGuire and That's So Raven, like they kind of were before that. And I think they also have a show out now. I think one of the sisters is on like some sort of talk show. I don't keep up with them.
I know you need to hit reply on that.
I did love Sister Sister though when it was on air. I watched it all the time. Yeah, they wrote a book and there's a series. This is the first one in the series. So I read, this is the first book on the TBR. The second book is The Magic Misfits by Neil Patrick Harris. Neil Patrick Harris is most, I think, known and iconic for his role as Barney on How I Met Your Mother.
This is outrageous. Who the kiss are you?
Although I know a lot of younger people know him as Count Olaf in the new adaptation of Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events.
Hello, 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 children.
He's also been in a lot of movies, he does a lot of musicals. You've probably heard of him. Yeah, I know he does a lot of movies, a lot of musicals, a lot of TV shows, but those are probably like his 2 more iconic roles. The next book to read is A Tale of Magic by Chris Colfer. Chris Colfer got his big start on Glee. He played Kurt Hummel and he won multiple Golden Globe Awards.
And what are you here to lecture us about, Kurt? Our horrible taste in clothing?
My dad has cancer.
I know he's also written several books, both YA and children's books, middle grade books, as well as I think he's directed and starred in his own movie adaptations of some of his YA books. This is the first book in a new series that he's written. His original series was A Land of Stories, which I was very interested to see going into this what I thought of it because The Land of Stories is a very, very popular series. At least at my work, I see a lot of kids reaching for the book, second one, third one, and continuing on. That's where Chris Colfer is from, and now he's a famous author. The next book I actually listened to on audiobook, so I don't have the physical copy to introduce you guys to, but I mean, I'll throw up an image. Do I need to scoot over? And that was Riley Rhodes' Ninja Detectives and the Case of the Missing Time Capsule. This was written by Octavia Spencer, who, if you don't know, Octavia Spencer is an Oscar award-winning actress. She is most notable, I think, for her roles in The Help as well as Hidden Figures.
What the hell are you doing? You can't be in here. Who are you?
I'm with the West Computing Group. Dorothy Vaughn, sir.
Well, this is a very delicate piece of equipment.
I'm sorry, sir. I'm just trying to be helpful.
What's your name again?
Dorothy Vaughn.
Dorothy Vaughn.
Although many people know that meme gif from the movie Ma where she's like around the corner and the kids are doing something in the background and she's just like we all know it. It's one of my favorite reaction images. I personally was introduced to her as like one of the teachers in Wizards of Waverly Place when Alex goes to like the magical Harry Potter-esque school.
Is just beginning.
I'm Dr. Evelini. You will both be in my class.
That's where I was introduced to Octavia Spencer. In my opinion, that's her most legendary role, but you know, I guess if you win an Oscar, I guess it's probably better than Wizards of Waverly Place, but Not if you ask me. Yeah, so very big name. She's written 2, I think, books in this series, but I read the first one. And then the last book on this TBR, because there's only 5. I want to give a little bit of a disclaimer. The first time I kind of rambled on around a bit, so I'm going to kind of keep it to the point, but keep it honest and keep it sincere. I've been meaning to do this video for a really long time, and I bought The Land of Stories and this book that I'm about to show you guys now when they were both 50% off after we did this huge blowout sale at work. Right after the holidays, a lot of our hardcovers went 50% off, so if you saw my haul, like I mentioned like a bunch of books that I got during that time. I had been planning to do this video for a while, especially because, like I said, I've been in the kids department. I've had ideas flowing around for middle grade. I kept pushing it off. As with many of us do, we procrastinate on the things that we want to do. Either we just think that we don't have the time to do it, or there's things that like readathons that I want to get to before. Like I know especially in December, I was doing the Magical Readathon, the Winter Quest, as well as January I was doing the VSCO Girls Readathon, and I was super excited for that. I love readathons and the prompts. I'm trying to step back from that though, so I can have more time for my creative ideas, especially now that I know, like, in this time, if we have something that we're passionate about and you want to do it, it's better to get it out now instead of waiting and putting it off. But I just kept putting it off because originally I think I wanted to purchase these other books at work instead of just getting them from my library like I did with this, and it was just a bunch of things. And anyways, so I had purchased this book originally with the intention of filming this video. I just never got around to it. And then something happened which kind of was very tragic, very upsetting. I know it affected a lot of people because it's one of those things that you never like picture yourself happening. When someone told me the news, I remember exactly where I was. My heart sank in my stomach and I was in shock and disbelief. Again, I pushed off this video because, you know, I bought this book to include it, but I didn't want it to be as if I was kind of exploiting this tragic event that happened. I even still to this day was going back and forth on whether or not I wanted to include it in this video, but I had already purchased it before this event had happened. And I feel like I don't want to say enough time has passed, but you know, I think it's good that I read it and bring it out into the world because I don't know how many people are aware that this book exists, or maybe they're interested in themselves and want to hear an honest review, which I read it, I'm giving you my honest review. But without further like explanation aside from that, the book that I read was Epoka, The Tree of Ekroth, and it was created by Kobe Bryant, but it was written by Ivy Clare. And, you know, I probably would have made a joke. Actually, I know I probably would have made a joke about, like, does this even count as a celebrity written book? You know, technically Ivy Clare wrote it. Like, is he... You know, I was originally, like, when I was thinking of this, I was like... And I remember, like, joking about it. Like, what does it mean created by? But I don't know. So, as you can see, that's why I struggled on, you know, filming this video, including this one as well. But I had bought it for this reason. I read it and I want to review it and I want to include it in this video, and I think you should stick around because my thoughts might surprise you. I'm including it in this video. I am going to be very sensitive to the topic, but yeah, so I really don't know what else there is to say. I mean, if you are uncomfortable or if you don't want to watch the video, I completely understand. I mean, I'm not going to talk much about, you know, the events that happened, but I can see how it would make some people upset or uncomfortable. I'm just including it in this. I bought it for that purpose, and I think if I bought it, I should read it, so I'm including it. And you know what? I want to add one other thing. I think I respect the fact that, you know, he said it's created by him, but he actually got, like, an author to write it for him, because I think that's the issue. Issue is, like, people who should not write a book are writing books, and then people also should not be writing books are getting someone else to write them for them and then just slapping their name on it. So I like that, you know, he takes maybe credit for creating the idea and the world and the characters, but he's actually getting someone who knows what they're doing and has actual craft when it comes to writing to, you know, execute what he had come up with. So I respect him for that, honestly. And also, it's just really freaking cool. It's got like rainbow pages. They always have like these like ribbon bookmarks, and it just looks freaking cool. So yeah. This is my TBR, and imagine the Randy Rhoads one up on top. So this is my Celebrity Written Books TBR, and I'm gonna try and do a thumbnail because I couldn't get one earlier. So today is the first day of middle grade March. Not really, because it's actually February 29th, but we're getting a little bit of a head start for this video. So I've started my first read, and that is A Tale of Magic by Chris Colfer, and I actually downloaded the audiobook for this. I was going back and forth between this and Magic Misfits because Tale of Magic is longer, so I would be able to get through it technically it would be the one that would take me the longest to get through if I would physically read it without help from an audiobook, because I think it said it was 11 hours. But then I also looked up the audiobook for Magic Misfits, and Neil Patrick Harris was doing such a good job in like narrating the sample that I was very tempted to get it, but it was only 4 hours long, and I decided to go with The Tale of Magic, which is also voiced by Chris Colfer, and he is doing a spectacular job as well. I just wasn't sold on it from the sample, but he's doing the character voices and everything like very, very well, which I think is the cool thing about like these celebrity or actors who write books, is that when it comes to their audiobooks, like they can narrate, they have like the talent and ability to narrate their own stories because they have this vocal ability that they've been trained to do. So I'm really enjoying it so far. I just listened to a little bit of it, but I did bring it with me physically. I have it right here. However, I think I also brought a different book for me. I'm not going to be talking about it in this video because it's not what it's about. Oh no, my glasses. But I think I might pick this up during work, but I might pick up something different that's unrelated to this video. Because since I didn't get the audiobook for Magic Misfits, I need to go to the library to pick up my last few. We'll see how A Tale of Magic goes, and if I pick up any of the other books, I probably will, so I can read 2 at once for this video. I will let you guys know and keep you updated. Yes. I'm excited. Back in my car, so I actually got to leave work a little bit early today, so I decided to head to the library so I could pick up the other books that I needed for this video. So I have now Twin Tuition by Tia and Tamara Mowry, which this is, I believe, Pink Twitches. I think this is exactly like Twitches, pretty much. And then the other book that I have for this video is The Magic Misfits by Neil Patrick Harris. I stopped by the park right now because I think I'm gonna chillax, so maybe read in the grass for a little bit. I'm still listening to A Tale of Magic, so I think I'll pick up Twin Tuition by Tia and Tamara Mowry since I'm kind of least excited for that one. It's not too long, so it shouldn't be anything terrible. I feel like I'm going into it like that one has my lowest expectations. Hopefully it'll surprise me. Oh yeah, so I also wanted to say, when I went to the library to find the books in the Young Readers Kids section, there was like a bunch of people there because I think it's like Reading Across America this Saturday, and it was Dr. Seuss's birthday, so like the library was celebrating, obviously. So there was a lot of kids there and a lot of parents picking out books for their kids. So I went to the kids section, yeah, so it was crowded, and I was like, oh, excuse me, sorry, I'm just trying to find the H's, which was like right past like this man and his son, and he's like, this is for like the 3rd to 5th graders, and I was like, reading range, and I was like, yeah, I know, I'm looking for a book here, and like I got like the most judgmental look on his face when I said I was picking out books from the kids section. Like, hello, I can read kids books too. There's even a sign that says everyone is welcome. But the judgment on that man's face when I said I was looking for like the 5th grader books and stuff like that, middle grade. Adults can read kid books, don't judge me, but I was just like, the audacity. Anyways, so have a nice little seat, gonna have my book, some beautiful scenery. I have some geese in front of me I can show. Got some lovely geese. It's a nice day outside. We have the fountain over there. So yeah, I'm sitting at a dirty bench, so I won't show you that, but let's get some reading. Okay, so I figured I'd pop on here for a really quick update. I'm gonna put this hood on because I need to take a shower and I haven't done that yet. I closed tonight at work, and so I'm trying to film this really quick before I get ready and before my camera battery dies, because it's about to do that. So I finished Twin Tuition by Tia and Tamara Mowry. By the way, today is the 2nd of March, and okay, so my camera cut out, back now. But Twin Tuition is about twins, Caitlin and Cassie, and they move to a new town after their mom gets a job as a police deputy or like a police officer in San Antonio. It's like a small town compared to where they used to live in Texas. Cassie is upset about the move. Well, they both are, but Cassie runs away when they get to their house when she finds out she has to share a room with her sister. And the mom asks Caitlin to go after her and find her. So Caitlin actually runs into a couple of new So Caitlin actually runs into a couple of new students at the school that she is going to be going to school with, and she ends up touching one of them because they were doing a bake sale, and she has this vision of one of the girls, and she kind of acts a little bit weird, and so they instantly peg her as like a weird new girl. And so when both Caitlin and Cassie go to school the next day, everyone's confusing Cassie for Caitlin, and that now they're both kind of ostracized as weird. They're both having these weird visions or premonitions when they touch people. They see something that is going to happen in the future. So it's like the whole plot of this. I think if kids who are the age range for this, they might like it, although I definitely think I could recommend things that are better than this. There were certain things in this book that I thought were annoying, I guess you could say. I guess I'm just tired of like the mean girl tropes, and because that was a lot of this going on. There was two popular girls and they were mean and they didn't like the new girls and they made fun of their clothes and the people that they hung out with. So that was just so stereotypical and it's been overdone, and I feel like kids, do kids still like that story? Do they relate? And the thing is too, I'm taking this kind of note off of there's a channel that I watch called Dylan Is in Trouble, and he did a review of like the Twilight movies, and he makes a very valid point, and I grew up in a small town. When people that are new come to your school or come to your town, you don't treat them like trash. You don't treat them like garbage. If your town is so small, new people are like amazing. You want to know where they're from, like what they do, because like life in this small town must be so boring. It's exciting when new things come around. And he was saying that like when Bella makes it to Forks High School, there's like a couple people who like give her dirty looks, and he's like, that's literally not how small town high schools work. It was just a plot device, made me roll my eyes. And then there is like a bit of bullying. Cassie, who is striving to be popular, I'm literally about to blow like a lot of the plot away. So if you care about reading Twin Tuition Double Vision, maybe skip this, but if you don't, like, I'm just gonna keep going. Cassie, who's attempting to be like part of the popular girls, she ends up pantsing Caitlin's friend, who of course is like what you would consider your stereotypical nerd, ginger boy, freckles, glasses, superhero underpants. So she has a vision of him getting pants and that he has these embarrassing superhero underwear underneath. In order to gain favor with these popular girls and make them laugh, she makes the vision come true instead of trying to help him avoid this nasty situation. And then of course it does earn her favor with the popular girls. So I just thought that was like cruel. Caitlin is upset at her sister, but she thinks that there's bigger issues at hand, and she, instead of trying to make her sister apologize or make her sister be better, she decides to try and get even and pull her own prank on Cassie, even though Cassie's prank didn't affect Caitlin, it affected her friend, and I feel like she should have been a better friend and stood up to her sister, but she doesn't do that at all. I just didn't like how that was treated. Like, if you're writing a book for young kids and you're gonna include bullying, like, you have to at least call out the person that's doing the bullying, which is her sister, but she just makes excuses for her sister. So I was annoyed by, that was another thing that bothered me. The other thing too that was bizarre to me is that they're literally in 6th grade. They're apparently in middle school. I know some middle schools like start at 6th grade. Mine didn't start until 7th grade, but everyone is obsessed with football in this town, which makes sense because it's a small town in Texas. But everyone was getting hyped for the middle school football game, and I'm like, isn't it high school football games that people get excited about? I know for sure. I don't think I ever attended a middle school football game. I attended every single high school football game because like I'm from a small town too. That's like the main event on Friday nights was to go there and then go to Denny's afterwards. So I just thought that was hilarious because it sounded like, it just, to me, this is like some tween fantasy. It really is. Like, this is what you think middle school is gonna be like. You're gonna go to football games. It's, I don't know, it's a tween fantasy, but as if their life was actually high school. Like, I don't know, how do I describe that? It was a high school fantasy set in a tween world, or like, I don't know. It's like what they aspire their high school lives to be, because I was like, no, I don't know any middle schooler that goes to a middle school football game. I went to high school football games. Who shows up like and cheers and tailgates for the middle school football game? It was very basic, very generic. I've read probably a million books like this. I know a million books will be written like this afterwards, and even this like whole vision twist wasn't really done that well. And again, it's a kid's book, but I feel like it could have been explored a lot more in depth. I think this was just something to pump out, and I know it's a series, but I wouldn't even say if you're a fan of Tia and Tamara Mowry, because it didn't have any fun of like the show. They had such amazing like scripts and, you know, things that they could have pulled from their own experience, like lines and stuff like that, but it was very generic. It didn't take me that long to finish it though, so that was nice. Even Smart Guy, pull from something else. Sister, Sister, you had such good comedy. I don't know. And so currently, since I finished Twin Tuition, I am reading The Magic Misfits by Neil Patrick Harris. About, a little less than halfway through. I need to get a new bookmark because that's literally too large. I'm on page 112 and I think there's like 230 pages in this. And I'm really liking it so far. It's definitely very cute. I like that it includes magic tricks for the reader to learn if they really wanted to like do up close hand magic or stuff like that. This follows our main character Carter, and he has been living with his Uncle Sly, who is a con artist, and they've been living on the road, and he ends up ditching his Uncle Sly and hopping aboard a like circus train. And while he is at the circus performance, he runs into Mr. Vernon, who owns a magic shop. Things kind of spiraling from there. I haven't finished it, so I just know he meets some other unsavory characters along the way that want to use him, and Carter doesn't like. He ran away from his life from his Uncle Sly because he did not want to be a con artist. He did not want to steal from people. He just enjoyed doing magic and performing to see people smile. Very cynical though because of the way that he's grown up and the company that he's kept. So I think it's really cute so far. I'm really enjoying the writing. At first there are some like fourth wall breaks by the narrator that can be a little bit excessive at times, but it's not bothering me too much because I really like the story, I really like the characters and the representation. He just met a new character named Layla, who is the daughter of Mr. Vernon, the one he runs into at the carnival, and she actually has two dads. And we have another character named Ridley who's in a wheelchair, Theo who plays like a magical violin, and I don't know if I've actually met these two characters yet. So there is a lot of representation, a lot of like cute friendships that are just now being formed. So I will, I guess, give my further thoughts and my official rating once I finish this, but this is what I'm currently reading right now, and so it's going a lot better than Twin Tuition, I will say that. I am still listening to the audiobook of A Tale of Magic by Chris Colfer. I'm about like almost 100 pages into that because I've been listening to it as I go and come home from work. That so far, because I really didn't know what A Tale of Magic was when I started reading it. Still don't know what it's about, kind of. I can gather that there is someone who is trying to build a magical school in a kingdom where magic is typically outlaw, but she's trying to work with the king of this land to help get people to understand and accept magic. And she says magic is good and magic is created by fairies. Witchcraft is what is evil and what should be punished, and witchcraft is done by witches. So the king grants her the permission to create this magical school, and he says that she can take students from the kingdom, but she can only take 2 students from the kingdom, and that is one boy and one girl. And then from there it switches over to a storyline where we're following our main character Bristol. In this kingdom, again, it's the Southern Kingdom. She lives in a world where women are very much limited into what they can do. It is outlawed for them to read, and of course Bristol loves to read, she wants to read, she wants to get a job, but women in this society are only bred to become wives and to cook and clean and take care of the family, which of course, as you can understand or probably guess, that's nothing of what she's interested in. And she seems like an average girl, so I don't know how she's gonna end up with doing anything with this magical school that was set up in the first chapter. But that's what I'm at so far, is we kind of been introduced to Bristol, her family life, this world. I'm liking that one too so far. I'm wondering if it's going to pick up because I feel like it's been spending a lot of time in such a dragging out a thing that doesn't really need to be dragged out. I feel like I just wish it would be moving further into more important plot points, because right now it's a cute story, but I just don't see like the direction it's going in, and I wish we had something else to propel us into like an act 2, because it just seems like we're following Bristol's family life for too long. Like a conflict has to happen soon, and it hasn't so far, so I'm just waiting for that to happen. And then after that, I am probably going to finish Magic Misfits today, because I don't think it's going to take me that long to finish. So I will probably jump into, do I have it near me? Epoka, the Tree of Ekrof. I don't know if that's how you're supposed to say it. I hope there's like a pronunciation guide. I will probably jump into this as soon as I'm done with Magic Misfits. Anyways, so that is my quick little update. I gotta go take a shower and get ready for work, but I will fill you guys on my thoughts when I finish another book. So check in then. What is up, guys? It has been a while since I've checked in. You wouldn't know because this is just gonna be the next clip in a video, but it's actually been several days since I last updated. Life has gotten a little bit rough recently, but it's starting, well, I mean, I'm starting to feel a little bit better, but we'll see. But anyways, the show must go on. I have been listening to the audiobook of A Tale of Magic, like you guys know. I'm gonna take my glasses off because I feel like there's a glare. And I just finished it this morning while I was getting ready for work. I have some thoughts on it. Obviously. I liked it. I'm gonna go into it saying that I really enjoyed the story. I thought it was very sweet. I do have like some critiques of it, I guess, if you want to say issues. We'll say issues. This could have, I think it has to do with Chris Colfer's writing style, and maybe it's just the kind of stories that he tells. I feel like he was trying to, it's called A Tale of Magic, and it is like a fairy tale world and stuff like that, witches and stuff. So I feel like he was trying to tell the story as if it were like an old-fashioned fairy tale. So he was like the narrator, followed along our main character Bristol and her kind of life and how she goes to this, basically she goes to this magical academy, and she's, have I told you the summary? Okay, so it's about our main character Bristol, and she finds out that she has magic, but the kingdom that she lives in the world that she lives in, magic is considered this evil thing, and anyone who possesses magic or has the ability of magic is persecuted and either killed or sentenced to like life imprisonment with hard labor. There is a new, like, she calls herself a fairy, and her name is Madame Weatherberry, and she is trying to get rid of the stigma around magic, that it's not evil, that it's in fact witchcraft that is evil, so, and witches that are evil. So witches do witchcraft, and what she says, fairies who have magic, they do have goodness in their hearts, and so they do good deeds and they do good magic. So she's trying to separate the two and not get them lumped together, and having, yeah, basically destigmatizing magic. And she is going to do this by opening up a school and inviting children to kind of hone their powers and control them, and so they can go out and do good things in the world, so that they can show that, you know, fairies are good and helpful to society. So like I said, Bristol finds out she has magic, and at first she's sent away to like a correctional institute and is basically forced to do hard labor. But Madame Weatherberry takes her, rescues her from this situation, and like I said, opens up the school so she learns how to use her magic, find out all different things and stuff like that. So that's basically like the gist of the story. So it's told like as if it were a fairy tale, and I wish it were told differently. And I think, I don't know if it's his writing or just the way that the story was told, it wasn't, I didn't like it like that. And I think that this is definitely like a me issue, not with the story itself. It was just difficult because I was constantly picturing myself on how I would write the story, because we spend a lot of time getting to know Bristol's character and her family life, and like we spend is it over 5 chapters just like before we even get to like this magical academy? I think it's even longer than that. It takes a really long time, and a lot of the stuff in the beginning is boring and like it's, to me, unnecessary. Like, yes, it explains Bristol's character, but you could do that in such a short period of time. It starts out that Bristol is a voracious reader. She loves reading, but it is outlawed for women to read and learn things other than being like a wife and a mother. So it is illegal for women to read, but of course, obviously, she's being our main female protagonist. She, is gonna love to read. It was a given. And so her father almost finds out, and her father is like one of like the head like magistrates in this society. Anyway, he makes the rules. I forget what you call him, like a judge or whatever. He threatens to kick her out of the house if she continues on reading. Well, she ends up getting a secret job at a library so she can secretly read the books in there. But that's like, again, I think it's 3 or 4 chapters before we even get to her being in the library and working there. It is drawn out for so long. So long. I feel like an easy way to cut all of that out, instead of having the 3 chapters of her like reading at home and getting in trouble, she sees like a help wanted sign, and then she goes to apply for the position at the library. You could have just cut first chapter after the prologue to her noticing the sign outside, walking into the library, applying for the job. Then the scene after that, she goes home to her brother, who's been kind of helping her, provide her with books in secret, and her telling her like him explaining like, sorry you got in trouble for reading, and she's like, no, it's okay, I got it covered, I got a new job at the library and I'm pretending. So that's I feel like that'd be such a clear-cut way to explain everything that we needed to know in such a short amount of time, because it wasn't really necessary at all for the overall plot. Yes, it tells us about her character, but you shouldn't dedicate like 3 chapters just to describing her character, or like we get it, you know? Like, you could do it, there's so many things, there's so many faster routes that he could have taken to just like get it, and I think it would have been better. It was just drawn out too long, I don't know. That was my issue. So the pacing was a little bit off. I did like the characters. Our main character, though, does fall in the trap of like being a Mary Sue, like hardcore Mary Sue. But my favorite characters were Lucy, and I believe it's, God, what's her name? The one with the bees. I like her. And then actually my favorite character of all, though, is Mrs. V, who's like the maid and the cook. And I think it had to do with like Chris Colfer, because he narrates the audiobook. he did her laugh. She has like this iconic laugh like after every like dumb like joke that she makes, and it like I don't know why, but it cracked me up every single time he did her laugh. So I really enjoyed her character, and I saw the twist coming, but I still liked it. So it was a good book. I liked it. I did. I just think that those were things that I think could have been better. And again, that's probably just a me thing, but I just kept thinking, like, this is not how I would do it. I would do it like this. And that happened a lot, and it kind of distracted me and took me out of the book. But I really enjoyed it, and I liked it, and I am looking forward to the next one and seeing what happens from there. But I have 2 more books that I need to read before this vlog needs to wrap up. I'm hoping to get them done by Tuesday. We're listening to another audiobook that's only 4 hours, and then I have the book Epcoa in my backpack today. But yeah, so that's my update for now, and then I will, I guess, get back to you the next time. Okay, and I know it's been a while since I've updated. This is actually when I'm filming the intro and the wrap-up of this. I have 2 books that I didn't get the chance to talk about like while I was vlogging. Like I said, a lot of personal things happened in the month of March, things that have been really like dramatic, if you want to say, in my life, just personally, and you know, so I don't want to go into too much detail because it is very personal. So I just didn't feel like vlogging, wasn't in the mood to vlog or be on camera like throughout my day-to-day. So I'm gonna wrap them up right now for you, and it's good to say though that the last 2 books that I read were actually my favorites out of this entire experience, and that was Randy Rhoads and the Ninja Detectives and Epoka the Tree of Ekroth. We'll start off with Randy Rhoads because I don't know if I ever actually gave a description for Randy Rhoads, which is written by Octavia Spencer. This is about a girl named Randy, and her father decide to move to the town of Deer Creek, which is a small town in like the south, and they're moving, I believe, from Chicago. Not too long ago, her mother had passed away, and her dad used to write this big mystery series, and Randy idolized his main character, who was a detective, and she wants to be a detective herself, and she was going out and solving crimes, but now her father has moved her away from the big city and has brought her to this small town where she believes everything is going to be boring. But the town is about to celebrate an anniversary, and they're going to dig up a time capsule, and they've invited the president to kind of cut the ribbon and open the time capsule, and it's supposed to bring a lot of revenue to the town because tourists haven't been coming because it's just kind of shrunken throughout the years, and so they're really expecting this to bring in a lot of business. But somebody steals the time capsule, and if they don't have the time capsule, they can't have a ceremony, and if they don't have a ceremony, then the president will not come, and it will not bring the attractions that they're hoping to get. So the town is at risk. A lot of businesses are closing down, or at risk of closing down. So she and a new friend that she makes in town called DC decide to team up and solve this crime together. DC idolizes a lot of like karate and martial arts celebrities, like Bruce Lee is his favorite of all time. Randy sees him practicing, and DC has a hearing aid, and he's also an asthmatic. As much as he wants to keep up with Randy, he has things that are limiting him. Randy is very much a headstrong, your typical protagonist, but she kind of has to remember to be sensitive to people with disabilities, and they face their own adversities in their own way, and she learns that despite, you know, what she originally thinks is someone that's holding her back because she has to slow herself down so he can catch up with her, she realizes ways to work as a team together and help each other out. So that was really sweet to see. This was really, really, really good. This was super cute. Like I said, with the other ones in the beginning of this experiment, they felt too cookie cutter. They felt like they felt too nice, or just they weren't as layered as this or the book that I'm about to talk about next, where these characters were complex and the problems that they had were deep. It wasn't just one note. They had multiple things going on against them and different things that they had to work through and come together to solve this mystery. So I really appreciated that, and like the character building was really well done. The character arcs were really well done. DC is such like a little cinnamon roll character too. Like, he so badly wants to be kind of like this rock star, like ninja who like kicks butt, and he pushes himself and he tries really hard, but then he also is kind of like a scaredy cat, and he's not as brave as Randy is, and if anything, like too spooky, like happens, he's ready to hit the dust. So he's just like a goofy little character. He's adorable, and Randy's trying to like feed him information, like pantomiming in the background, and he's just not getting it. And there's also another character whose name is Pudge, and he is the son of a like wealthy landowner, and he kind of comes into play later on. He's on the cover, but he's not really into the story until about like halfway through, and he ends up teaming up with them as well. I didn't guess who was behind the missing time capsule. I was for sure thinking it was like where it was so like originally headed, but then that was a great misdirect. So it was a really good mystery, and they set up like things that were actual clues that led to other clues that led to other clues. There wasn't anything that kind of left me disappointed. Like I wanted to keep reading more to figure out where this whole trail was leading to. So I think as far as like a mystery aspect, it was really, really well done. And like I said, Octavia Spencer I don't know if I said this actually. Octavia Spencer narrated the book, and she did a really, really, really good job. So I really enjoyed that. It was just a really good book all around. The only thing that like is disappointing, I feel like it falls under like the bad title category. I wish that it had a better title, because like that's so like overlong, like like Randy Rhoads Ninja Detectives and the Case of the Missing Time Capsule. Like I wish there was a more creative title other than that, because I feel like it would have probably drawn a lot more people in. I had never heard of this book before, and I hadn't seen it in my store until I went like and tried to like Google search like celebrity written books, because everything else I'd already seen. But I was originally gonna do Rumple Buttercup by Matthew Gray Glebler, but after looking at that, it's almost just like a picture book. I might save it on for a later video, but I didn't want to spend the money on it, and again, it wasn't at the library, wasn't on Scribd, so through my research I came across this one, and I'm really, really glad I did. I would highly recommend this to anyone who's looking for like a good kids mystery that has a lot of action, a lot of intrigue, a lot of good character depth and character growth. And then the final book that we should talk about is Epoka, the Tree of Ekroth, and again, this was created by Kobe Bryant and written by Ivy Clare. This, again, I don't know if I gave a synopsis, but a brief synopsis. It follows two main characters, Rovi and Prisha, and Prisha is a princess of this kingdom. She desperately wants to go to this like athletic sports academy called Epoka, but she is afraid that she does not have any grana. The best way that I can describe grana in this world is I've never even seen the prequels to the Star Wars, however, someone has explained to me what metachlorians are. If I remember correctly, metachlorians, like depending on the number of metachlorians you have inside your body, determines like how strong you are connected to the Force. Grana is basically like metachlorians, like the stronger your grana is, or the more you have of it, the more like athletic ability you possess, and it's very highly prized in this kind of world society. They celebrate these epic athletes events, which is basically like the Olympics, but like superpowered Olympics, like people who have superpowers kind of. But she is afraid that she does not have any grana. She's worried that if she does not, number one, have any grana, that she cannot become this amazing athlete that she so desperately wishes she could be, and number two, she will not be able to inherit the crown for her kingdom, which people are already looking down upon her and her parents, because in this society you're either, there's two like kind of castes or two parts of like I guess the country, and you're either a realist or a dreamer. Normally they kind of separate each other, they don't intertwine. Her father is a dreamer, I believe married her mother who is a realist, and so she is the first ever child born like half and half, like mixed, I guess. And so people think that's like unnatural and bizarre, and so she's already kind of having a lot of people expect either for her to fail or for her to rise above and become like this new generation. She has a lot of this pressure on her, and there are epic gods the old world used to pray to, except for one, and his name was Hurel, and it's been outlawed to pray to him because he betrayed the other gods and tried to take over. They still like leave his statue there like as symbolic, and they light all the other fires in prayer, and she's so desperate that she ends up lighting the evil god's statue up and decides to pray to him because she is desperate for her grana. Things happen. Moving on to Rovi, who was our other main character. He is actually the complete opposite. He has been living on the streets and he has been stealing for his life and to get by. He has grana. He's part of this group called the Star Stealers, and he's like the most famous one. He's the fastest thief out of all of them. He does not anticipate to go to this academy because he's a nobody, but is written and foretold on the scrolls of all the students that are going to be going that year, and someone seeks him out and finds him and brings him to the school, and it turns out that his father used to work as one of the teachers at the school. He was banished and fired, and his father ended up getting addicted to drugs and died, and so ever since Rovi has been on his own. So he's familiar with the school, he grew up there, and now he's returning to a bunch of people who have heard all of these awful rumors about his father, is going into this academy with a lot of prejudgment along with Prisha. So if that doesn't give you complex characters already, I don't know what does. There's amazing characters outside from them. My favorite probably is a character named Vera. She has an interesting story arc, especially from the beginning. She's very headstrong. She wants to prove that she's the best of the best, and she has actually lived under the shadow of her older brother. Definite Gryffindor energy, high-key Gryffindor energy. I ended up reading like 3/4 of this in like one night during like Rachel Marie's cozy like readathon. I finished this like entirely like mostly on a Saturday, and I could not put it down because it got really good. Aside from like some few logic things that don't make sense to me, which I don't know if it was just fully explained, I really don't know why athletics are praised so much in this society, other than that it's cool. I guess maybe it's because they have this ability of Grana. Yeah, I don't really know why. I guess maybe it's because Grana gives them this special super athletic ability that's why it's so treasured, and I wasn't really sure why, if Prisha doesn't have any Grana, why she wouldn't be able to rule. I guess because that means she wouldn't be a strong ruler, or if that's just the society's rules. But other than that, this was a really good book and a really strong like start to a series, because I'm pretty sure this is going to be a series. Again, both Prisha and Rovi, like already I described to you like the things going into the school that they have to face, and it's just built even more on top of that. They each have, along with their own personal struggles, they struggle to get along with the other students and teamwork. It's a really big struggle of their past and their current selves, and kind of dealing with that. There's also this weird kind of thing where on their 11th birthday, before they go to this academy, they're given this like book that has a bunch of these pictures that they're supposed to like interpret and kind of guide them through their journey throughout life. So that was really interesting too. There was a lot of interesting concepts. When you think of Sports Academy, like what do they teach? But there's actually some really cool classes that they teach that do come in handy and come play into a part later on in the story. I really liked this. This was really good. If you want like a Magic Academy but like with sports, like this is pretty much it. It was very interesting, very entertaining. I wanted to find out the end and see what happened with these two characters, as well as the kind of ones that they team up with. So again, I highly recommend this. I really enjoyed it, and I was surprised that I liked it as much as I did. Compared to like, I thought I was gonna like A Tale of Magic a lot more. This was definitely obviously the strongest, one of the stronger ones out of this whole experience. I loved this, and I again recommend it. Really good. Really quickly, just to wrap this all up, I put them into like the call pile system, which if you don't know, the call pile system was created by G at Book Roast, which is a way to kind of break it down and get a more accurate rating. I still do half stars because, you know, with this it kind of just gives you a solid answer, whether 2-star, 3-star, but I still give half stars on Goodreads and stuff like that. Starting with Twintuition, which I categorized as magical realism, I gave it a 3 for characters, a 3 for atmosphere, a 3 for writing, a 5 for plot, which might be a little bit generous, a 3 for intrigue, a 6 for logic, which again I might also be generous, and then a 3 for enjoyment, which gives it a 2-star rating, which it is it's a solid 2-star. And then moving on to Magic Misfits, which I categorized as crime, because technically it is. I don't know. That one was a little hard too. For characters, I gave it a 5 because it did have more interesting characters and better developed characters. For atmosphere, I also gave a 5 because with the magic shop and the big kind of, there's like a big show at the end, that I thought that was cool, and there's like a circus. Writing, I gave a 4, which the writing wasn't actually even that bad, so maybe I should change that. I'll give it a 5. The writing wasn't bad. I think it was taking inspiration from like classic Lemony Snicket, breaking the fourth wall. I just don't think it was done as well, but there wasn't really anything in the writing really that was disappointing. I just feel like he didn't really go there as far as like the characters and making us feel something. It was very tame, which I guess is my issue when it comes to a lot of middle grade. I feel like they try to make everything too perfect and too easygoing. I feel like you should be able to go kind of a little bit darker, like obviously not like too dark, not like, I don't know, like 7th book of Harry Potter, but at least the first one, there was mystery and possible deception and, you know, sneaking around. They weren't afraid to get their hands dirty, and there was monsters and danger, which I feel like within the earlier ones there was no like real clear and present danger. I didn't feel that desperation for the characters, which for me not caring as much, because you can already tell that things are gonna work out fine. Sorry, this is Fuchsia Ariel looking back at those clips where I'm trying to describe why some of them fell a little bit flat as compared to other middle grade that I've read. And I think the main issues with the first two, Twin Tuition and Magic Misfits, along with the other things that I was saying, but I think an easier way to get across this too is from the beginning we are told who the bad guy is, and we know that they're the bad guy, we know they're the person behind it all, so we kind of know who we're up against, and I think from there you already know that they're going to win because you just expect it to. You don't see them being thrown off at any point because we are aware of who is behind it all. Whereas at least with A Tale of Magic, there was an element of mystery, there was an element of danger and the unknown, so that kind of helped bring the stakes a little bit higher. I think that's a better way of describing it. Not much though, because I don't even know if that really made sense, but I'm gonna insert that to kind of help clarify too where I think can make or break at least the conflict in a story and the villain, I guess. So yeah. I don't know if this helped at all, but I just thought about it, and it was something that I wanted to add. So I feel like that is the trap that a lot of middle grade falls into. Shies away from creating depth and emotional stakes. The writing wasn't bad. I just think it didn't go far enough, and it was just average. So we'll do an average. I'm changing it from 4 to 5. Plot was a 3, because you had a cool atmosphere and you had a lot of cool things that you could have done, but you didn't, so I gave it a 3. Intrigue, I gave it a 4. And logic, I gave it a 6. And overall enjoyment, I gave it a 4, which that translates to a 4.57, which also is a 2-star. We'll give it 2.5. I don't know if I said the actual score for the first one. That was a 3.71. The next one is A Tale of Magic by Chris Colfer, which is a fantasy. For characters, I gave it a 4 because I thought we kind of got a step down from the characters from the first one. There were a lot more Mary Sue characters, although this is so hard. I guess our main character I just didn't really connect with. Gosh, I don't even remember her name. Oh, Bristol. Bristol was too Mary Sue, and even the other boy that was kind of also a main character, he was too Mary Sue. I liked a lot of the secondary characters, so I think I'm gonna stick with a 4 for that. I don't know. I'm on the fence with that one, but atmosphere I gave a 5, writing I gave a 6, plot I gave a 5, intrigue I gave an 8, and logic I gave an 8, enjoyment I gave a 5. Do I want to change any of these? I like how I'm second guessing everything now that I'm looking at it and relaying it to you guys. Writing was good. I did make it better, marked it above. Maybe I'll change atmosphere, because the atmosphere was better than Magic Misfits, so I had them both the same, so I'll change it to a 6 instead of a 5. Plot, again, was average. Not below average, but just average. Intrigue, I'm actually going to move down to a 6, because one of my biggest issues with A Tale of Magic is we spent too much time on things that didn't help propel the plot forward. I feel like every scene you have should be quickly moving us on to the most important storylines, and we spent a lot of time focusing on things that really weren't driving us anywhere. So I'm gonna move the intrigue down to a 6. Logic was an 8, that's still good. Enjoyment 5, maybe a 6, maybe I'll move it up to a 6. Which brings it as a 3-star, so I agree. It's a 3-star, it translates to a 5.86, so apparently like almost a 6 in that, but it translates to a 3-star. Next, we're doing, the next book that I finished after that was Epoka, the Tree of Ekroth. So for characters, I gave an 8, which is the highest out of any of the character scores that I've given. Atmosphere, I gave an 8. It was very, very atmospheric. I loved the school. It was described very well. I could picture vividly everything, so it did a really good job at that. Writing, I gave a 7. Plot, I gave an 8. Intrigue, I gave an 8 because I wanted to see what happened. Logic, I gave a 4 because, like I said, I have a lot of questions about the world and why things are the way they are. It didn't quite make sense there. But overall enjoyment, I gave an 8, so that translates to a 7.29, and I'm pretty confident with what I put down there before. So that translates to a 4 stars. And lastly, the last book that I finished was actually Randy Rhodes by Octavia Spencer. I said that was a mystery. So for characters, I gave a 7 because while I did enjoy the characters in Randy Rhodes, I have to say I really, really loved the characters in Epoka like a lot more. They're both really good, but since I gave the other one an 8, I feel like I couldn't give it the same one because I did like Rovi and Prisha and Vera more than I liked Randy. Atmosphere I gave an 8. Writing I gave a 7. Which those are the same between Epoca and Randy Rhoads. Those are the same. Her plot, I also gave it an 8, which makes it even with Epoca. Intrigue, I gave an 8, which is also the same. Logic, I gave an 8 because the mystery was really well done. Everything made sense. Every clue led up to the next part of the mystery, and it was wrapped up very well. So unlike Epoca, which is I guess is a little bit harder because it's a fantasy and you're creating a whole new world, so this is set in our world, so naturally you kind of have to follow a set of rules of reality. So I guess that's where that happened, but so that's what kind of tipped it over to the other one, and I did like it the most out of all of them, although it's really hard because I did like Epoca a lot, which I don't even know if I'm saying that right. It sounds so weird, Epoca. And then enjoyment I also gave an 8, which brings it to a 7.71, which would be, I guess if we're going by this, is higher than the other 4, so 4.5. But yeah, so I'm really glad that technically the way that I read everything was actually my rankings and enjoyment. So I started with the lowest, and all throughout I just kept going up, which is great, honestly. Can only hope that the next time I do this little experiment that it'll happen that same way. But yeah, without further ado, those are my thoughts and opinions on those books. Let me know if you are interested after hearing what I had to say about any of them. I do want to continue on with The Tale of Magic. The next cover is beautiful, and I'm hoping that the story will get better and maybe those issues that I had with first book will get better. And I'm also interested, maybe not purchasing The Land of Stories, but I'll probably buy or borrow it from the library and see how it compares. If I have the same issues and that's just his writing style. This was my stack, and overall it wasn't a whole bad experience. I didn't get anything that I actually really hated. I mean, I didn't like this one, but it wasn't the worst. I've definitely read worse. So I mean, I feel like I'm coming through this with like a overall positive feelings. I really got some new favorites. I'm happy. This was a good time. So let me know if you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you guys are interested in reading any of these books now. And yeah, I will see you next time. Bye!